Hi, it's Kevin here from the English Native and also IELTS 9 Pro. So I've got an essay which I'm going to review, correct, score and make some suggestions for improvement, if any are needed. In fact, we will see. Changes, okay. I'm going to be referring to our modified version of the IELTS official criteria when referring to different points. So, first things first, what does the examiner do? He counts your words. Don't think that they don't. 282, okay, not too bad. Round about 300 is good. 12 to 14 sentences. How many sentences do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. The reason I count sentences, as you will see later, is how we assess the grammar. It's a number of sentences you produce without an error. That's how it's calculated. Error-free. Okay, so if it's not the mistakes that you make, it's the sentences that you produce without a mistake, and that's the same for the speaking section too. So, in order to study at university, students are required to pay expensive tuition fees. Not all students can afford them, so some people think that university education should be free. So the topic is, do you agree or disagree that university education should be free for everyone? So the rest of this is the background, the context, the actual question which we have to address here. Do we agree, yes or no, university education should be free for everyone? That's it. So, introduction, we have to paraphrase the topic and briefly answer the question. Okay. Fees for higher education are expensive and not affordable for everyone. So, according to some, university should be free for all, well, we don't need people, regardless of their background. That's pretty good. Okay. In my opinion, offering everyone free university education would be problematic, and therefore shouldn't they be offered to certain individuals? Okay, so in other words, you disagree. So that's pretty good. Problematic. Okay, so I would maybe said a little bit more why, but okay, as an introduction goes, that's pretty good. Having free university education for everyone will put a tremendous financial strain on a country, the country, or on countries. Universities would have no income for fees. Well, it depends what you're talking about. I mean, it depends if it's state or private and what country you're talking about. But okay, universities would have no income from fees, not for fees. And consequently, they would rely completely on the state for funding. But that's what happens now, for example, in many universities. They rely on the state. So how would this be a financial strain? I mean, this is something that a country budgets for. It's not something extra. I mean, for example, where I am now in Europe, in Slovakia, Czech Republic, Austria, if you're an EU citizen, you don't pay for university. You just pay a very small administration fee, and we're not bankrupt here in Central Europe. So again, right, you have to specify what you're talking about: who, why, where, what, how, when. Universities where, as I've just said, that's not true. That's not true. As I say, for the majority of countries, again, who are you talking about? Well, anyway, let's go back to this. So, universities would have no income from fees and consequently would rely completely on the state for funding. Okay. Doing this means taking funds from much needed areas. Well, who says so? Who says so? I mean, how can you prove this? Most countries have a budget. So much money for health, so much money for education, it's not an either or. For most countries, it's not either or. Either we have hospitals or we have universities. That is not an argument. For the majority of countries, particularly developing or underdeveloped countries, such as, this will not be a financially viable option. Well, who says so? So we need specifics here. Okay, so financial strain on a country. What country? For example, in Bangladesh, for example, in Egypt, what country? Universities would have no income from fees, rely on state funding. Well, that's how most universities operate anyway. At least in Europe, they don't pay the states. Taking funds from health care. Where does it do that? We have healthcare here, and we have an education system. It's not either or. Majority of countries are okay. Now, I see your main point. It would be expensive, but the way you've developed this doesn't really work. It's too general. It's too vague. Who? What are you talking about? Specifics. Okay. Another point to consider is that offering all people free tertiary education would tempt many people into university, whether they were interested or not. Well, whether they were interested or not. Interested in what? In the subject? Interested in the subject? Well, I think you'll find that most people at university do a subject that they are interested in. I mean, it's a factor. Sorry. In many countries, I know lots of people, for example, in China, they go to university and they end up doing some subjects that they don't like purely to please their parents, because that's how you can get a high-paying job, like law or finance. So they were more interested in art or in history. So I don't really know. So if it's free, many people would go where they were interested or not. I think you've got that argument the other way around. However, in other words, rather than choosing to get a job, some people would opt for doing the degree or a degree to which they would only half-heartedly apply themselves. Well, who? Where? Why? How? What are you talking about? What degrees? Is there particular subjects? This will not only be a waste of country's finance, also a waste of human resources. What does that mean? What does that mean exactly? A waste of human resources? So I see your main idea, but it's not developed very well. Finally, the best solution would be to keep university fees. Okay. But still offer some free places to gifted students from poor backgrounds. This will ensure that talented and intelligent students who cannot pay their education will still get educated and trained. Society would benefit and get the right people trained, and financial resources would not be wasted. Well, that's kind of saying the same thing. So you basically said the same thing kind of twice there. In conclusion, abolishing this is not feasible for most countries. Well, it doesn't say anything about abolishing. It's talking about not having them at all. Abolish means that you have fees and then you cancel them. But it's not. It doesn't really say that, and you don't really say that either. In many countries, as I say, in Europe, for example, you can go to university in this country where I am now, Austria. I don't know, in Hungary, I think it's the same. You just pay an administration fee if you're a citizen. Now, in Western Europe, in the UK, that's not the case. You have to pay. So you need to specify where, who, what, how, and it's not about abolishing fees. So that would imply that you have fees and you are going to cancel them. Now that might be problematic, but there's some countries that don't have fees now. So again, you have to specify exactly what you are talking about. Not feasible for most countries, offering free places to the financial management of the country's resources. Okay, well, you've got resources. What? You seem to like that word. What's this? Not feasible in places with financial means. Better use of resources. Well, you've kind of said that there. You said it once there. You said it twice there. But here you've said it's another waste of resources. So okay, this is not bad, but I think to improve it we need a bit of focus. So let's have a look at the scoring now. Okay. So get my pen. Fully addresses all parts of a task. All right, more or less. Fully developed position. Well supported ideas. Well, not that really. All parts of prompt directly answers the question. Let's have a look. Supported ideas, well-developed position. Right. This is... So, all parts. The position, okay. Extends, supports the main ideas. Yes, but they're not as focused as they could be. Some people in some countries, at some universities, some courses, over generalization. I don't think we need to go down to 6. No. For this, for task response, I would give it a 7. So to improve this, be specific. Support your ideas. Who, how, what, where, why. What are you talking about? Who, what, where, why, how. What university, what countries, specific examples. It can be personal, from your country, etc. Okay, so task response is 7. Now, cohesion and coherence. Cohesion's good, the paragraphing's good, the message is good. Logical sequence, more or less. Now, clear central topic. Okay, yeah. Substitution. Now, what I'm interested in here, progression. Now, we've got a clear main idea, but the progression needs to move on. So this needs to, this leads to this, which leads to that, etc. If we take a look at this, so you've got everyone's would be problematic. Having would put tremendous financial strain. Okay. So this would not be a financial option. So it's basically saying the same thing. Waste of countries, finances. Okay, so that's basically the same. So okay. I think I think this is not bad. I'll give this a 7 for cohesion and coherence. Now, less common items. Lexis. Spelling word formation is pretty good. Do we have a wide variety of vocabulary? Do we have idiomatic items? Let's have a look. So, we've got universities, university. You could change that to higher education or tertiary like you have done there. Okay, and we've got countries. So you could use nations or states or something else. So we've got countries, university, university, resources. So it's not bad, but the vocab, it's not as wide-ranging as it could be. It's not bad, but it's not uncommon. It's pretty. So I would give this a 7 also, mainly for that reason. It isn't bad, but still we've got far too many or far too much repetition, I should say. It's the same thing. Now, you've changed it there, the state, but again, for the majority of countries, particularly undeveloped countries, countries, finances, countries, university, resources. If you change that, your vocab score will be better, I guarantee. Now the grammar is pretty good. A preposition there, article there, article, word form. I think the grammar is good. I would give it 8. So I give it 777. So what's that? 21. What's that? 7, 14, 21, 8, 29. So what would you have then? 29 divided by 4. 7.25, and they usually round it down, so they would round it down to 7. So not bad at all, not bad. I would give this a 7. It should be higher if you be more specific with your examples, right? Your task, you can certainly boost this task response to 8 or possibly a 9. Okay? And the grammar's good, the cohesion's good. If you watch your vocab, if you try and introduce a bit more variety in your vocab, you could certainly boost that to an 8 or possibly a 9 as well. So not too bad, but there's a few things that we could work on here. And cohesion, coherence, try and move your sentences on. Don't keep saying the same thing. That's what progression. This leads to this, leads to that. The grammar's not bad. If you watch your, I think it was articles and preposition. So there's a few things that you could do here, but in general, this essay is quite good. Just be specific, develop your ideas, have good, clear, specific, focused examples. Try and change up your range of vocab, not resources, countries. Try and change that up. Watch preposition articles and try and show a progression, not repeating the same. This leads to this, leads to this, leads to that, etc. So, all in all, not too bad. I hope that helps.